Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SD Times live microwebinar series with Melissa. This is the third episode in this series, and after our short 10-minute live stream today, if you've missed either of the first two, you can head to sdtimes.com and scroll down to the Learning Center to watch the others. Now, today in episode 3, we'll be talking about the significance of national watchlist screening. In this 10-minute microwebinar, you'll learn how screening individuals against national watch lists will allow your company to identify individuals who are involved in money laundering, fraud, or other financial crimes. With me today is Ben Nguyen, sales engineer at Melissa, and now I'll kick things over to him.
Hello, Jenna. Is Ben from Melissa? Can you hear me very well?
Yes, sound great.
Yeah. So today we're going to be going over the significance of watchlist screening. So I'm thinking to start it off, we could kind of talk about what exactly is watchlist screening, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and start kind of defining what it is. So in simple terms, watchlist screening is kind of to check if certain individuals or organization to see if they're associated with certain official records, the kind of records that could make them potentially problematic or could make them kind of risky for your business to work with. So most of the time, watchlist screening is a process done by organizations to kind of make sure that the person that they are working with is not involved in some illegal or threatening activities. So by doing this, organizations can kind of mitigate the risk of onboarding or working with dangerous individuals who might harm their business, either financially, either legally, or reputationally. And so watchlist screening is not a lot of the time it's kind of companies' initiatives to check their customers. However, something to keep in mind is that there are compliances and regulations out there that either recommend or actually require companies to adhere to. And a few compliances that come to mind are AML and CTF. So AML is short for anti-money laundering, and CTF is short for counter-terrorism financing. And so what they have in common is that they both require financial institutions to perform KYC, which is know your customer. I know I'm throwing out a lot of jargons here. So they require financial institutions to perform KYC and watchlist screening. So what KYC is that they should know if the customer that they're onboarding, if they are who they claim to be, if the information that they give your company, are they real? Do they actually belong to them? To make sure that you're not onboarding some fake identity. And then you have to go through a watch list screening to see if this person is mentioned in any national watch list, any official sources, to see if they are mentioned in any sanction list, if they are a politically exposed person, which is PEP, or if they have been mentioned in some kind of negative news or adverse media. And this whole effort is for companies to adhere to do customer diligence. And what it is that companies want to have a risk-based approach when they're onboarding customers or when they're doing business with other people or businesses, to kind of understand if they're low risk, medium risk, or high risk, and therefore kind of create a plan to allocate resources to this person or business in the case that they might pose high risk to your organizations. And something that is good about watch lists is that national watch lists are usually shared with international databases, meaning that there is a certain type of communication going on between different countries. So a lot of the time, the person or the organizations that you're looking at, they might not be identified within your country. However, they could be identified in another country. And so watch list databases, especially the international ones, are exceptionally good for your business if you could go over. Yeah, and that's pretty much like the short definition of what watch list screening is.
Awesome. So we have some time for a few questions. So I was wondering if you could kind of break down like is this like one specific list, or are there multiple watch lists that you would have to like seek out? Like how does that process work?
Yeah, so of course. So there are many types of watch lists that companies are typically interested in. Usually, for the industry standards out there, there is the sanction list. Um, there's regular watch list. There is sanction list. There is politically exposed person, which is PEP, and then there is negative news. So at Melissa, we do offer a solution that includes all of that. So, for example, if you put in an identity of a person, we will go over it. We will look at if they have been mentioned in any national watch list, if they have been mentioned in any kind of sanction list, if they are a PEP, or if they have been mentioned in some type of negative news. So each one of them kind of give you a good look at the individual. So, for example, for the sanction list, you want to see if they have been mentioned in some kind of legal penalties that might or might not be relevant to the business that they're doing with your organizations. If they are a politically exposed person, so politically exposed person does not necessarily mean that it will predict their criminal activities. However, um, because these people are usually kind of government officials. They could have a lot of political power, and so they might or might not be um, potentially able to conduct some kind of money laundering activities or terrorist financing activities. So that is the risk that you want to know prior to establishing a business relationship with this person. And then there is the negative news. So that is, let's say your business is working with a person or another company. You want to know if they have been mentioned in some type of scandal, some kind of fraud, to make sure that they are these information might be relevant to the business that they're doing with you. So you want to acknowledge it, and you want to make sure to mitigate the risk that those things, if has happened before, will not happen with your relationship. And so at Melissa, because we understand that we do include all of those features in our solution. So what we specialize at Melissa is data quality tool. And so we have been in the business for 40 years. And the thing that we have always been focused on is the data quality. So what it is that when you put in the information of a customer, we don't really do watch lists immediately. So what we do first is we'll look at the name. We'll see, we can parse the name out to first name and last name. We'll check if it's like a real name. We'll check the address, or let's say the date of birth of the person. So the address, we'll look at it and we'll check if it's a valid address, if it is well standardized. If it's not, we can do some small corrections to kind of standardize it, kind of remove the parts that might not be necessary. And then after everything looks good and well standardized, then we will go ahead and do verification to see if all of this information actually, in fact, belongs to that person or not. And that's one. And two, we'll look at all of the watch list components. So be it, sanction list, PEP, or negative news. And then we'll return back to you all of those information.
Got it.
And yeah.
So to keep things kind of short into our 10-minute time limit that we promised everyone, we're going to end things here. But if anyone caught this in the middle and wants to rewatch it, you can do so on our website. And also, if you want to learn more about Melissa and the offering that Ben just talked about, you can head to melissa.com. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thank you.